But then when they start and they realize how much effort it's going to require and how much disruption it causes in their life, they start justifying where they are. So in other words, it's like, well, I don't need to lose weight that bad. It's not like I'm that heavy. It's not like I'm that out of shape. And when they justify it, it's at that moment that they choose to take the easy way out.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Shane Perry, a performance consultant and entrepreneur who has turned personal tragedy into a powerful mission. With a deep understanding of human behavior, Shane's dedicated to helping others break free from their comfort zone and achieve their dreams. Join us as we explore Shane's journey and insights that have guided him along the way. Tell us your name and what your favorite quote is.
Yes, my name is Shane Perry, and my favorite quote is actually one that I came up with, which you can either make life happen for you or you can let life happen to you. And that's something that I teach a lot on with the people that I work with.
That's not what you feel in the form.
I have a lot of them.
The one you feel is you can take the easy way out.
You can win. You can either win or take the easy way out. Those are my main two that I teach people. Yes. Yeah. You want me to say it again? Want me to introduce myself and do it again?
So which one are you super excited? I want the one that, that has like you are like super excited about, and, if you had to pick only one, which one would you want to talk about?
Absolutely. You can either win or take the easy way out. 100%. That's the one I'm most passionate about.
Okay. I just want to be sure, because the thing is, when I start asking questions, this is the thing. The quote has to have lived life with you. It's not like, so it doesn't have to be, no matter where the quote is coming from, it has to have like lived life with you, gone through some major milestones with you. It doesn't have to be, even if, it's not, I don't want a quote that, you just saw maybe 2 weeks ago and there is no story behind it. There's no, when I was this, I thought about this, and, okay, since you said that one, I guess we'll have to do it again. So, tell us your name and what's your favorite quote is.
My name is Shane Perry, and my favorite quote is, you can either win or take the easy way out. There is no in between. Yeah.
How far back did you come to this realization?
Goodness, honestly, probably 20 years ago.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I've been coaching people for 35 years and built a business that has a lot to do with motivating, inspiring, coaching people and mentoring people. And that's, I came up with that quote just through observation with other people and my own experiences.
Okay. In a short while, I'm going to ask you some of the observations you've seen, but what does it mean to take the easy way out?
Well, it means that most people, as we live our life, we have goals, things that we want to accomplish, whether physically, relationally, spiritually, any aspect of our lives. And those goals require effort. And that effort obviously requires people to kind of make changes and alter their lifestyle a little bit. And that takes effort. And that's called, and achieving those goals is called winning. You're winning. But it's a lot easier for people to take the easy way out. And typically the easy way out simply means that they may have a goal, let's say, to lose weight. But then when they start and they realize how much effort it's going to require and how much disruption it causes in their life, they start justifying where they are. So in other words, it's like, well, I don't need to lose weight that bad. It's not like I'm that heavy. It's not like I'm that out of shape. And when they justify it, it's at that moment that they choose to take the easy way out. And instead of doing what's required to improve their life, they just go back to what they were doing. And I would observe that. I've observed that, honestly, thousands of times in my 36-year career.
Now, I think there are two major components that calls my attention from that quote, and that is the easy way out and then winning. What does it mean to win? Like, what does it mean to win?
In my opinion, what it means to win is very simply, within what I teach people, to set a goal, do what's required to achieve it, and get to that place. That's winning. Is really, there's a lot of strong starters out there, but there's very few finishers. There's a lot of people that decide to set a goal and decide to go for it, but they typically give up. The people that make the necessary adjustments to do what's required to achieve their goal and actually achieve success and achieve that goal, to me, that's winning. That's winning.
Yeah. Now, I feel, I will come back to winning in shortly, but I feel that there is a thin line between taking the easy way out, and what society or this generation or this trend has designed or coined what they call work smart. So how do we know if we're actually working smart or we are just taking the shortcut, easy way out, and we're just running away from the work we need to do?
Absolutely. I'm a huge proponent for working smart. I teach how to work smart, but you have working smart still means that you have to work. And as long as you're doing the things required to take you closer to that goal, then it's working. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that they're taking the easy way out. When they start, well, I'll just do that tomorrow, or I should do this, but instead I'm going to do this. That's not working smart. That's taking the easy way out and giving up on your goals, essentially.
Okay. Okay. Because what I'm thinking right now is there are people who they don't do the thing at all, right? I'll give an example. Let's say you want to lose weight, right? And okay, there are people who they don't work at all. They don't do anything regarding the work, right? They have this goal. They don't do anything related to the work. They just stop. They just quit. They just forget about whatever goal they set. And probably 6 months later, like, oh yeah, I did have the lofty goal of doing this. What happened? How did I forget? What happened to me? But then there are people who they do the work, but what I would call that kind of work, I'll call it pseudo work, false work. It appears to be work. It looks like work. It feels like work, but it's not work. I'll give an example. Let's say I wanted to record a podcast, right? Now, I could tell myself, and a lot of people will argue with me and say, oh, no, but you are not seeing it the way we are seeing it. I could tell myself that, oh, I want to start a podcast. I want to build a podcast, right? I could say, okay, let me study the top 100 podcasts, which there's nothing bad with that. Let me listen and consume up to 1,000 podcasts, which there's nothing bad with that. But here's the thing. To be a podcaster, I just need to record a podcast and publish a podcast. Like, it's as simple as that. Of course, if I want to become a really good podcaster, I need to start working on a couple of intricate details. If I want to be really ahead or listen to, I need to promote the podcast and all that. But I could be so scared of the work itself. I could be, okay, I'll give an example. People, there are writers who, they say that they are so scared of the writing itself that they end up cleaning their house, which is work. They end up watching TV. Okay, that's not exactly work, but they end up sweeping the compound, doing all those things. Of course, those things are important. Those things are work, but the whole idea is to keep themselves so busy that they don't get to do the work itself, which they are afraid of. So they are not lazy. Right. They're working.
Yeah, but they're not focused. They're not focusing on their goal. And it's really easy to do that. It's really easy to lose focus. Absolutely. Because, when you set a goal, whether it's to start a podcast or start a business or lose weight or fitness or anything, it requires, first and foremost, it requires you to leave your comfort zone. And, you could go to social media and see all the circles and everyone's always talking about the comfort zone. People know what the comfort zone is, but rarely do you have someone that explains how your comfort zone was built, why it's so difficult to leave, and why when we do leave it to improve an area of our life, we end up turning around and running right back into it and giving up on our goals. So you're very right. That's very true. The busy work, right? They're working, but they're not focusing and the work necessary to achieve their goal and improve their life. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of business, an example could be, business is getting customers to pay you to provide value for them. That's like the simple idea. They pay you, you provide value for them. The exchange of, and it's like at the core of every business, you can simplify the business to the basics of it. But then I could also be refreshing my email, organizing my email, creating labels for my emails, sorting out the stuff. And I could spend 4-5 hours doing that. I show up to work every day and there are so many other things I could do. I could look at my calendar, analyze it, break things down, do all those things, which of course, those things are good. But yes, the thing, at the end of the month, there's no income flowing into the business, and then you tell me that, oh, you are not working. I'm like, I'm at the workplace 12 hours every day. You that you are talking to me, you spend 6 hours at the job, yet you are doing better than me. So are you telling me that I'm not working hard, right? So it's not like they are not working. That's the funny thing. They are working. They can always track the time that every hour, every working hour I'm working. But they're not doing the thing that matters.
No. It's like the number one goal set in the world is weight loss. People want to lose weight. That's the number one goal set in the world. 92% of people that set goals don't achieve them. And what a lot of them do is the busy work, the busy work. They're researching losing weight. They're researching. Look, worst case, just get out of the house and go walk. Just do something. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's easy to tell ourselves that we're doing what we need to be doing when in reality, we're just doing the busy work, not the productive, focused.
Yeah. I think there's this principle called the 80-20 rule, where you have to like ask yourself, like, what if I could do only one or two couple of things in my business, what would be those things? And then, because this thing, sometimes those things, they might not be so interesting. They might not be so, they might not give us this sudden dopamine hits that, like, oh, when you refresh your email, you answer a couple of emails and now everything looks clean and there are no, there are no unread emails and you feel like you've made progress, right? But but when you when it comes to the business itself, usually it's boring work, but it's different. And then we might do any other thing other than the thing itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's usually because no matter what your goal is, the thing required to actually achieve it is the tough thing. The business that I built for 36 years, it runs itself now, was based on prospecting. Those
Okay.
sales, going out, talking to people. And for
Okay.
most people, self included, it's awful. Nobody wants to go out there and prospect. Nobody wants to go. I mean, it's so you're like, I did that a lot. And I would watch people. I would sit in the office and arrange things and organize and create new scripts and all this stuff. It's set up, it's right. And like losing weight. It's like, losing weight. I'm going to clean out my refrigerator. I'm going to buy water. I'm going to clean out my pantry. I'm going to buy healthy food. I'm going to buy, new gear and new
Look
shoes.
for a diet plan.
Yeah, but the reality is what you need to do is you need to stop eating the junk, you need to eat better, and you need to go exercise, and it's a
I
big
mean,
thing. What you're
it's so
talking about
simple.
is a big thing. This is what I coach people on. I teach people how to achieve goals, and what you're hitting the nail on the head right now with what people suffer from. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I want you to like I know I said earlier on that we'll come back to what winning really means, right? So far now we've seen that sometimes it's easier to when somebody is not even on the path at all, it's easier to say, okay, um the person is taking the easy way out. And then there are people who they are on the path that looks almost identical to the path, the actual work itself. It looks like it, but it's not it. And it looks as if, okay, oh, I'm working, I'm doing, and if it takes the outside perspective, it actually look like, dude, you're not doing this thing. You're just wasting time. You might as well just be on the couch, not doing anything. So you know that, because this is a strange thing now. If I'm not working on the business, right? Let's say I'm at home, I'm watching Netflix, I'm just binge watching series, and I hear somebody's like, "Oh, are you working on your business?" I know that I'm not working on my business. It's very clear. It's very straightforward, right? If I'm not exercising, if I'm sitting on the couch and just eating junks and everything, I know that I'm not exercising. I'm not doing anything, right? But the guy who is in a dangerous position, who is doing all those things, he feels like he's doing this stuff, and so he's not getting results. He's not getting those things. And now he's like, oh, this stuff does not work. Oh, these guys are saying this thing is hard. This thing is this thing is that. Whereas he's wasting time on stuff that does not even matter. Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join. Or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Right. And along those same lines, people tend to be very short term with their mentality. Right. I always teach people that you have to set 90-day, 6-month, 3-month, 6-month, 12-month, and 24-month goals. And there's two things that every goal has in common. Two things. The first one is that you're never typically where you thought you'd be when you thought you'd be there. That is the most common thing that all goals have in common. And that's a big reason people give up, right? I'll stick with the losing weight thing, right? They want to lose 10 pounds in their first month and they lost 2. And they're like, well, this stinks. It's not working. But welcome to the world of goal setting.
Yeah.
Almost every goal you ever set, you're never typically going to be where you thought you'd be when you thought you'd be there. And the second thing that every goal has in common is that you are going to get hit with a ton of disruption before you see an ounce of success. That's why my business is called Disruption Factor, because that's the main thing I teach people is when we leave our comfort zone, when you set a goal and you embark on that goal to achieve it, the first thing you're going to get hit with is disruption. Disruption in your life, disruption in your routine, disruption in your habits, because you have to make whatever adjustments there are to, like for you, you started a podcast, right? Okay, well, you got to buy the equipment. That costs some money. That was disruptive, maybe. You've got to find the time to do it. You've got to become an expert on everything from technology to doing it to marketing to people to being a host. It's a big learning curve, and you've got to make the time to do it. And you're probably not going to be that great when you first start, which is not good for the confidence. And that is all of that is disruptive. And as humans, as a species, we don't like disruption. That's why when our life gets disrupted, we run back to our comfort zone. So those are the two things that every goal has in common. You're never where you thought you'd be when you thought you'd be there, or at least rarely. And you are going to get hit with a ton of disruption in your life before you experience an ounce of success. So if you can look forward to those things and expect it and manage those expectations, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want us to talk about winning, right? It's a very core component of that quote, right? We've talked about, okay, sometimes the easy way out is not only not doing the thing. Sometimes you might be busy working, even working 16 hours a day, and yet you're just wasting your time. You might as well just relax. And the whole world will know that, okay, you are lazy, right? Because it's a strange thing. Like it's you are not lazy, yet you are just wasting time doing nonsense, basically. Okay, I want to talk about winning because earlier on you mentioned something. You talked about, yeah, you said go. You usually are not there when you think you should be there. And for me, I need you to like really define winning, because sometimes I'll give an example. Let's say I start a podcast, right? I could say, okay, winning for me on the podcast would be, oh, let's say if I be in the top 1% chart on Apple, that's when I won. And if I don't get to that chart, that would be really, really terrible. And I'm so focused on that. Every day I'm refreshing the chart. Every day I'm refreshing the chart. Or I could say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to meet incredible persons. And probably at the end of the year, I can make 2 to 3, 5 lifelong friends from the podcast just by interviewing guests. And I'm going to have unique human conversations. Now, I would also publish every week, one episode every week, depending on one every day, depending on, the resources and the sacrifice I'm willing to make. That's if I have, okay, I'm going to give 20 hours to it every day. And so I'm going to post every week for probably the next 2-3 years, right? And I could say, okay, these are the things, these are my reward, these are the things I want, right? It changes my expectations, it changes what disappoints me, and it changes what excites me. Now, if I say top 1%, which is good, which is great, I'm not saying you should not wish for that, but this is the thing, it's not in my control. Apple could change the algorithm. I can't get to top 1%. There's so many things that are not in my control. Now I'm basing whether I'm making progress or not on an external factor. I'll give an example. If I wanted to lose weight, right, I could say, okay, my progress could be I will show up at the gym every day and exercise for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Or 20 minutes. I don't really know. Depending on what really fits and what fits into schedule and everything every day. Or every day I'm going to walk from this place every day morning. Every day I'm going to jog every day before I start my day, before I do anything, before I take my first breakfast. I'm going to like jog for so and so place every day, right? That's what I'm going to do for the next 1 year. And I'm going to make sure I track it. The day I miss, I try not to miss twice, right? That could be my goal. And now every day while I'm counting it, okay, I've jogged, I've exercised for 100 days. Wow, I'm making progress. I've done 150. Wow, I'm making progress. I've done 200. I've done 300. That's progress for me. Now that could be my goal. Or my other goal could be I'm going to lose 150 pounds in 1 month. Now, there's nothing bad with that. But here's the thing. When I step on the on the scale, the stuff is not changing. Now I'm disappointed. Now I feel like what I'm doing is not working. Now I feel like I'm wasting my time. Now I feel like an idiot. But if my goal was, okay, today I showed up, I exercised for 20 minutes. Wow. Or maybe I could start tracking the amount of time I spend exercising, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then maybe at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I've spent over maybe 600 hours in this year exercising. Man, maybe next year I'm going to make it 1,000 hours or something like that, depending on, the context and what fits in. Now it's different. Now, if I just show up and exercise and I, do what I need to do, that's progress. I have won by just showing up and exercising. Whether irrespective of whether the skill reflect or not, that's not really my business. So, how do you define winning? This is what you do professionally, but how do you define winning? Because sometimes
It's
there
actually,
goes,
yeah, it's very simple. You're winning is doing what's required to achieve your goal. Whether it's top 1% podcasts, or doing one a week for the next 2 years, or losing weight. It's just like, very, very rarely, winning is not you achieved your goal. Okay. That's
okay,
not winning. That is winning. But winning is you're consistently doing what's needed to do to stay on track to achieve your goal, whatever goal that is. Taking the easy way out means that you kind of gave up on that and went back to the way you were before and justified your way through it. I'm 57 years old and I was out of shape. I was not fat, but I was husky. I was heavy for me. I was out of shape.
you know,
And 4 years ago, I got back in the gym and I had to apply personally everything I've been teaching people for years and decades.
yeah,
Right. And so I am in the best physical shape of my life, other than maybe when I was 21 years old, maybe, but I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm winning because for 4 years, I've been very consistent doing the things I needed to do. Yes, I've messed up. Yes, I've taken the easy way out at times, but I came back. But ultimately, when you talk about taking the easy way out, for most people, it means that you've settled and decided to be like everybody else. Wisdom, if you want to know what you have to do to achieve a goal, okay, what should I do? You can look at the vast majority of people and watch what they do and do the opposite. Because most people have a herd mentality, they follow, and we're kind of taught,
yeah,
whether you're in Nigeria or you're in California, it doesn't matter. We're all the same. We are all taught that we should settle and be like everybody else. And when you decide to break out of that and you want to start a business, you want to make money, you want to start a podcast, you want to lose weight, you want to get fit, you want to get right, any area of life, you're breaking away from that crowd. That alone is uncomfortable for most people. People are now talking
yeah,
about you. People are teasing you. People are watching you. And so taking the easy way out in that instance is that it's so much easier for you to give up on that goal and just join everybody, be like everybody else, where there's no pressure, there's no expectation, no one's talking about you. So taking the easy way out has a lot to do with just settling and deciding to be like everybody else. Winning
yeah,
is staying on track and staying and keep doing what you need to do to achieve that goal. And you've got and as you're doing it, there's a mindset that you have to adopt that's very important, right? Like you got your podcast, you're consistent. You're probably not top 1% yet, right? But you're
yeah.
going. But how long have you been doing your podcast, Wisdom? How long have you been doing this?
This one is for about a month now. Right,
Okay.
but I have other podcasts that I started like last year, but this one is about a month.
Okay. So you're doing what's required. You're staying consistent. You're putting together your podcast. You're building your audience. Or let's do the weight loss thing. You're focusing. You're eating right. You are exercising. Here's what you have to keep in mind. This one mindset: I'm not where I want to be, but thankfully I'm not where I used to be. Right? That keeps you going. Like, look, I'm not number one podcast yet, but look how far I've come. I'm not where I want to be, but man, I'm not where I used to be. I'm pretty good at this now. I'm pretty good. I'm asking good questions. I'm a good interviewer. I'm building an audience, look, I'm not where I want to be, but man, I'm not where I used to be. I'm eating better. The stuff that I used to struggle with when I started my diet,
Yeah,
I don't struggle with sweets anymore.
yeah,
I'm consistent. That keeps you going. That's a big mentality to adopt.
yeah, yeah. It's a good thing the type of quote you mentioned makes analogy or uses the metaphors of path, way, track, right? Because this is
Mm-hmm.
the thing. For most of the important goals in life, right? Let's say for example, you want to have a good marriage. The goal is not to have a good marriage. The goal is to stay married and have It's not like, oh, I have a good marriage, I've won. No, the goal is to is to stay. That's the ultimate goal. Now,
Sure.
in business, the goal is not to like, oh, make $10 million. No, the goal is to stay in business.
Stay in business.
For being fit and healthy, the goal is not to like lose weight, lose 50 pounds, lose 100 pounds. No, that's good. That's great. Those are before and after transformation. That's awesome. But the goal is to stay fit and stay healthy. That's the goal. And so in order to do that, we need to be on a journey. It's not like, oh, you do this, you make this trade and then boom. It has to be a journey. And I think the major problem is that we have to keep asking, we have to keep course correcting, keep asking ourselves, well, am I switching? Sometimes you're supposed to like go to the gym and you miss the gym for like 1 week and like, oh, dude, what am I, if I continue doing this? I know where I'm going to end up. let me go back on track. Let me stay on track. Let me keep doing it. And most people, they see, of course, some certain things in life, they are one time, but most people, they think they need to start seeing winning as an identity. It's something that it's a journey. It's something that you do every day. It's not like, oh,
Right.
I've made $5 million. No, I've won. Of course, making money is good, but the idea is, if you want to build a business, every good business is meant to like outlast this generation, even to the children can inherit it, and you can down to the generation. That's what there are businesses that have been around for like 100 years, 150 years, and they're still doing strong. And then there are businesses that they start 6 months and boom, it's gone. Right?
Right.
So the goal is to build the identity, and I like that track metaphor. It's really, really important.
Yeah. And a big key here is, we talk about leaving your comfort zone, which you have to, but a big key here is to establish a new comfort zone. And establishing a new comfort zone, which means you've done it for 90 days, 180 days, you stayed consistent, right? You're starting to see a few successes, you're starting to see some success, here's some results. And then what happens is you build a new comfort zone, and the new comfort zone that you've built is one where you're only comfortable as long as you're doing what needs to be done. I just experienced this recently. I just came off a bunch of travel. I took my 19 and my 21-year-old children. I took them to Italy a couple weeks ago. We were in Italy for 2 weeks, and then I came home and I went up to Napa. I've been traveling. I've been gone for 3 of the last 4 weeks. And I did a lot of walking, but I didn't do any weightlifting. I didn't do any exercise. I ate a lot. I drank a lot of wine, and I got pretty grumpy. I got pretty down on myself. Why? Because my comfort zone now is I'm only happy if I'm able to go to the gym, if I'm able to exercise. And when I can't, it frustrates me. It makes me uncomfortable. And when you get to that point, like if you're consistently doing a podcast every week, and all of a sudden 2 months goes by and you haven't been able to do one, you'd be down on yourself, you'd be upset, you'd be frustrated, and that's a good thing. That means you're going to win, because that means that now you're only comfortable as long as you're doing what's required, which means you've left that old comfort zone gone long ago.
Exactly.
And the thing is you're always developing and stretching into a new comfort zone, because once you get X amount of followers on your, I don't know, you say you had a goal to have 1,000 subscribers and you got that and you thought you'd be happy. Well, now if I could do 1,000, I want 5,000. You're always going to stretch yourself. You got people that I just want to lose weight, and then they lose the weight, and then they're like, well, now I not only want to lose weight, but I want to get fit. I want to build some muscle. And then they do that. And then next thing you know, they're like, I think I'm going to run a mini marathon. And next thing you know, you're always stretching yourself. And that's the human spirit, man. That's the human spirit. We as humans are intrinsically built for adventure and risk. Now, when I say risk, I don't mean, dodge cars on a freeway. I don't mean do stupid things. I just mean that we're not built to settle and be like everyone. We are built for adventure. We're built to take chances. We're built to venture into the unknown and take a chance. And hey, maybe we'll succeed, maybe we'll fail, but the trying is the adventure, and that's what we're built for, And so when people take an area of your life, because there's 5 areas of our life. There's recreational, relational, spiritual, financial, also includes business, and physical, diet. Those are the 5 areas. When you decide to take any one of those areas to a new level, That requires a goal. It requires adopting the mentalities and the things that you and I are talking about today, and step out of that comfort zone and really start living and experience that adventure and the risk and the challenge and the reward and the success and the failures, everything that comes with it. But you're alive and you're doing what most people only dream about, but they never actually do.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Shane, for sharing this quote with us, and for explaining it such that we understand. And where can um where can the listeners learn more about you, and what do you do, and where can they learn more about what you do?
Yeah, well, you could go to my website. It's disruption-factor.com. There's a dash in there, disruption-factor.com. My primary, I do a little bit of one-on-one coaching, but not really. My primary tool is I have an online course that people enroll in, as well as a lot of public speaking and group seminars and things like that. So disruption-factor.com, they can reach me there. My social media on Instagram is Real Shane Perry, or at Disruption Factor on Instagram. But reach out. I'm happy to ask questions, and I have lots of free stuff. And I just a real believer. I have a real passion for helping people achieve their goals and improve their lives and really live a better life.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.